and in front of the video, don't sit idle. So you can please take your laptop and do the practicals. So this is the last file. So close the files. Go to create the new project. Session tracking mechanism. I want dynamic web project. So what is the project name here? Session tracking mechanism. Which session tracking mechanism here? So HTTP session app. Give me 1 second. Can please take the module version. What is the module version here? So better to take the 2.5, then web.xml file is generated. When we select the 3.0, from 3.0 onwards, it supports the annotations. If you select the annotations, what happened here? The web.xml file is not generated. That's the reason. So you can please select the 2.5, then web.xml file will be generated here. In this case, clear? So select the 2.5. So click on what? Finish button. The project is created. First let me prepare that form pages. What is the form page here? HTML file. What is HTML file here? Let me prepare the form1.html file. First application I will prepare all the files. Form1.html. So by default that is HTML only, right? Good. So I don't want any header part. Let me write the body part just. What is the body tag here? First of all, let me write the form tag. The form tag. Let me specify the method type. Let me write the method type. Method equal to getter post here. Better write the post. So action is the URL pattern, right? What is the URL pattern here? Let me forward request to first servlet. /first servlet. Let me write the first one is what? Username. What is the username here? So input type equal test. So name equal to, within the bracket, logical name of the servlet. Uname is my logical name. Let me increase the form. So uname. What next one here? Let me write the break. So br tag. Username is completed. Next one is what? So user age. The user age. Tell me input. So type equal to test and logical name equal to user age. So let me write the br tag. Control goes to next line, breaker, then submit button. So input type equal to not test, submit. Input type equal submit. So value equal to, click on next button. This is my next button. Now form file is completed. So here only two files here, two username, user is, click on next button, then control goes to next file. Let me prepare the form 2 also. So web content folder, new HTML file. Next one is what? Form2.html. The form2.html. So you can please copy paste the form1 data, entire data. So where you have to do modification here. Username means user qualifications, user designations, qualification designation. So input type equal to, next one is what? uqual and u designation, DSIG, user designation. Control S, click on next button. Obviously here send the request to second servlet, right? Let me write this is my second servlet. Next button, when I click the next button, what the control goes to second servlet, then second servlet will be executed. I will write the servlets also. The form 3, I click on project, new, I want HTML file, form3.html. The form3.html. So copy paste the previous code. So here the last one is what? Mobile number. Can please enter the mobile number and email ID. Mobile number and what? Email. Input type equal test. So here can please write the mobile data. This is my mobile. The last one is what? You have to write the email. So parallelly write the develop the example. So a number of ones are asking Ratan advanced Java, Ratan advanced Java. Now I'm doing advanced properly, so do it. So when I click the form1.html, the form1 displayed here. Input type equal test. When I click the next button, the control goes to first servlet, right? Let me prepare the first servlet here. Go to Java resources, right click on src, new. I want servlet. What is servlet? Package name here, com.dss. So class name, first servlet, first, first servlet here. So click on finish. This is first servlet. It will generate error message, build path configurations, predefined support if you want. Add external jars. What is jar file name? Predefined support here. The servlet predefined support in the form of jar file, servlet-api.jar. Click on servlet-api.jar. So click on OK. Then problems will be rectified. So first servlet, I would like to override doGet or DoPost method. How to override DoPost, because in the servlet I mentioned DoPost, right, and the form pages. So here we have to override the DoPost method. So first of all, get the requested details. How to get requested details here? Request.getParameter of tell me request.getParameter of. Here let me write the request get parameter of username. First of all, let me store the username, the string uname variable, the string so username variable. What is one here? The request dot, the method name is called what? Get parameter of user password, sorry, user not password here, user age. Let me store that user age also by using string variable, string user password. Good, sorry, user not password, user age. Good. After getting the request details, so first let me do the execution, right? The steps to design this application. What are the steps to design this application is? Step number 1. What is step number 1 here? Launch the form page. Form page, say the form1.html, form2.html, form3.html, display form page. Step number 2, display the form page, send the request to server side. At server side, get the requested details. Step number 1 is, step number 2 is what? Get the requested details. I am getting requested details. Step number 3. What step number 3 here? Prepare the HTTP session object. Prepare HTTP session object. What the first one here? Display the form page, then get the requested details, then prepare the HTTP session object. Step number 4. What is step number 4 here? After preparing HTTP session object, can please add the requested details into session object. One next file here. Add the requested details into which object? Write the first step from steps. Better to write the steps, then start application. What is step number 1 here? Display the form page, get the requested details. After getting prepare the HTTP session object, then add the requested details into HTTP session object. After adding the details into session object, forward the request to next form. What is step number 5? Forward the request to next form. This is called step number 5. So what is step number 5 here? Forward a request to, tell me which form here? Next form. This is called what? Total 5 steps to design your application. What is step number 1 here? Display the form page, get the requested details, create the HTTP session object, add the requested details into session object, then forward the request to next form. These are the 5 steps for to write this for application. So clear? Let me write this one here. I displayed form page, get the requested details. After getting the requested details, so here, so getting requested details. After getting the requested details, one here, create the session object, right? Create HTTP session object. I hope this is my first request. First request means HTTP session object will be created. HTTP session object is created. Let me create the HTTP session object here. So HTTP session. Come on, HTTP session. HTTP session equal to, on the request object only how to use the method or the method name here, get session method. This HTTP session object is ready. Once the session object is ready means set the data into session object. Set the data into session object. How to add the data into session object here? The session dot, tell me, session dot set attribute. Set attribute of, tell me here, expecting how many arguments, tell me here. Is expecting how many argument here? So 2 argument. What are the 2 argument here? One is the string data, one is the object data. What is the string data, Ratan? This string data, I am storing the data into HTTP session object, right? I am storing the data into HTTP session object in the form of the strings only. As a reason, you have to write what the string data here. I would like to store which data in HTTP session object here. This is requested details, right? This U name is the object value here. So here, first one is what? String data. String data means what? This is the uname variable stored in the HTTP session object. This is the uname I am passing to the HTTP session object. For example, if you want more clarity, do one thing. Here AAA. What is the data we are doing here? Tell me. This is a uname data. We are setting this data to the HTTP session object. In the HTTP session object, the uname contains what is the variable name here? AAA is the variable name. While getting the data from HTTP session object, which object? HTTP session object, get attribute of you have to pass which data here? AAA data. Get attribute of you have to pass AAA data. There's a reason, but in the project level, to reduce the naming conflicts, we have to give the same names. I hope you understand. This is the session data, session object data stored. This is session object variable. This is the our requested data. So let me write this one is also what? Uname. In the same way, session dot set attribute of next value here, user age. Let me write this is my user age. Good. After getting the session data into the session object, then forward the request to form2.html. This is second form.html, right? To forward the request to second form, which object is required? Request dispatcher equal to on the request object dot, the method name is called what? Get request dispatcher, then forward the request to form2.html by using include mechanism or forward mechanism here. Dispatcher dot, the mechanism is called forward mechanism only. Then the request goes to target file. But you are storing the request details in the which object here? HTTP session object, right? No problem at all. Total how many steps here? I launched form page. After launching the form page, get the requested details, create the session object, add that request details session object, then forward the request to next file. And forward the next request to next file. Let me do the execution up to this example. Run on server, click on next, session object, finish. Restart the server, restart it. But you have to launch the form1.html, right? Form1.html. First of all is what? Form1.html. But it is not recommended to launch manually. You can please set the welcome file list. Web content folder, web.inf, web.xml file. Web.xml file, good. So here form1.html is my welcome file. Then run the project. I click on project, run as, run on server, click on next, session tracking mechanism, finish. Okay. This is my obviously form page display, right? I hope you understand why I am writing this one. Welcome file list. Good. Username. What is the username here? I entered Ratan. Age I entered 27. Click on what? Next button. Form2 is displayed or not? Form2 is displayed or not? Here won't display any client request details because we are using post. Post means a post request, right? Post request means it won't get any header fields and security. To provide the security, we are using post method. When I click the next button, there is no action because we are not preparing form2, right? Second servlet, right? Can you please prepare the second servlet here? How to create a second servlet here? So go to Java resources folder, src, com.dss. First servlet is ready. Second servlet, second servlet, click on finish. This is second servlet. We have to override the DoPost method. The DoPost method, write the code. So here I am not using general setting because print writer object is not required because we are not printing any data, we are not adding any response object, right? Directly are forwarding request to second form, next form, form2.html or form3.html file. Clear. So the second one is what? Get the requested details. Step number 1. Get the requested details. How to get the request details here? Request dot get parameter of so user qualifications, then store the data string uqual. In the same way, user designations also udesig basic form2.html. Where is the form2? Go to the form2.html. Yes, I want modifications. This is form2.html. udesig desig. Good. Bah, come on, where is the second file? Hurry. Come on. Hurry. Nani, can please change the mouse? Mouse what is okay. Now get the request details. So user qualifications and UDI designations only. Good, no problem. Get the request details. After getting request details, next one is what? Prepare the session object. Session object. How to create a session object here? HTTP session tag mechanism. HTTP session. So session equal to HTTP session equal to on the request dot, the method name is called what? Get session method. So get session means what? It will create a session object. Tell me, in this case, already in the form 1, servlet 1, already in the servlet 1, HTTP session object is created. This session ID is created in the form of the cookie. The cookie is automatically transferred to form 2. Along with the form 2, the cookie is automatically comes to the second servlet, right? Tell me, in this case, for this user, already session object is available or not? Already session object is available with this user, right? This is second servlet. If already session object is available, it won't create the new object. In this line, it creates the object and it locates the object. In this line, it locates the object because this is second request. It is a second request means it locates the object. It locates the object. I hope you understand, right? Tell me, if it is a second request means it locates the object. For example, the sections are not working, like in the cookies are not working means it creates a new object, right? In that case, place to create new object, you have to write the false here. Then what is the purpose of get session of false? By default it is true, it will create the new object. By default it is true. What is the purpose of request.get session of false? It's very, very important. Request.get session of false means if previous object is available, it will locate the object. So generally, if it is a false, if it is a true, if previous object is available, it will locate that object. Means it reference variable is pointing to existing object. If the previous object is not available, it will create the object. It will create a new object. But tell me, so generally in the second request, you want to create the object, you want to locate the object. This is a second request details. In that place, we have to store these details into existing object. You don't want new object, right? But in this case, what happened here? Because get session of true means if object is available, it will locate. If object is not available, it will create. In that case, to prevent the object creation, then use what? False. In this case, false means what? If object is available, second request, object is available, then locate it. If objects are not available, error message. If object is not available, error message. That's the reason I'm using get session of false. Good. Then what next one here? Set the details into set the data in HTTP session object. Set the data in HTTP session object. How to set the data in HTTP session object here? Session dot set attribute of the first one is the data is stored in like HTTP session object. User qualifications, and this is it seems to big application, but step by step process. I hope don't get boring. That is a come on. This is a YouTube video, man. I'm unable to give. I hope you understand my feelings. This much content I'm giving on YouTube means there's a great one. I'm thinking this is a great. If you are attending my live classes, katam left and right, each and every point. Perfectly, I'm giving each and every point in live classes. But in the YouTube, can please observe myself in the classroom. No students. Always I'm saying in front of the video camera only.
In entire core Java videos, advanced Java videos, in front of the camera only I am saying. So in classroom only two guys. One is the cameraman Nani, one is the Ratan taking the class. No other students in the classroom. Feeling important, but every time I am saying yes or no. Concentrate. But don't expect any students in the classroom. Clear? If the students in the classroom, but students in the classroom is they have to understand. They have to understand means I have to give the running notes. Says I will give the time to note on this all examples, right? But in the classroom, no students. So do the practicals properly. So set attribute of user qualification and what? User qualifications. Set attribute. In the same way, session dot set attribute of, tell me, udesig. Within the double quotes udesig, because this is the string data stored in session object. This is a requested data. Udesig. Good. Set the data in HTTP session object. Next one is what? Forward request next form. So forward the request to, tell me, next form. How to forward request next form here? Request dispatcher object. Request dispatcher equal to on the request object dot, the method name is called get request dispatcher. I would like to forward request to form3.html by using forward mechanism. So forward mechanism is dispatcher dot forward request object response object. So clear? So up to this, let me execute this application. I hope you understand this line, right? Get session means by default it is true. By default it is true means if object is available it will locate the object. If object is not available it will create the object. But in the second request I don't want new object, I want previous object only, right? To prevent the new object creation in this case I use false. When I use the false means what happened here? It will check the object. If object is available it will locate the object. If object are not available it will generate exception. It won't create new object. This is a form 2. Let me execute up to this one here. I click on project, run as, run on server, next HTTP session app, finish. If you want you can restart the server. Server is restarted. Username, what is the username here? Correct username, like some username. What is the username here? Ratan. User age is what? 27. Next button. User qualifications. What are user qualifications here? BTech is user qualification. What's the user designation here? So trainer. Click on next button. Form 3 display, right? Don't click on next button because there is no display servlet, right? User qualification designation, then you have to write what? Mobile number, email. Let me write the mobile number and email. The final servlet. What is the final servlet here? Display servlet. In the final servlet, I would like to print all the details. The client previous request details at the time of the processing later request I maintained by using HTTP session object, right? I would like to print all the details here. Then how to print all the details here means like class name, or the class name here, this is called display servlet. Display servlet. Click on finish button. So there is a form 3. This is your form 3, right? This is form 3. Form 3 means here we have to change the request here. Display servlet. When I click the, this is called, last one is the display. I hope why I am doing modification you are able to understand, right? Email, mobile, display button. Then display servlet will be executed. This is the display servlet. Form 1, form 2, this is form 3, web.xml file, first servlet, second servlet, third servlet. Clear? Good. Display servlet, then override the DoPost method. The display servlet means I would like to print all the details. To print all the details you want request.response type also, right? General settings also required. What are the general settings here? Response dot set a content type. Set a content type of tell me here how to write what? Text slash HTML. This is content type. Response dot set content type. Then to add the response in response object, how to go for what? Print writer equal to on the response dot, how to use the method get writer method. Then good, get the request details. First, what are the request details here? Email and mobile. Request data get parameter of, what the first one here? Mobile. I am getting the data. So request dot get parameter of mobile. Let me write the string. So mobile. String mobile. Good. This is a string mobile is completed. So the next one is what? So email. So I would like to print these two details from the request object only. Remaining four details I would like to get the data from session object, right? Let me create the session object. HTTP session equal to, this is a third file, right? HTTP session equal to on the request object dot, we have to use method get session. Here true or false is mandatory, here false is required, because if object is available it will locate, if object is not available it won't create. If you are creating, no use. Good. Then I would like to print all the details. So print all details of the client. Good. I have total how many details of the client here? So total how many details here? 6 details. Out of 6 details, 2 details from which object here? Request object. 4 details from which object here? Session object. So clear. Let me write the println writer dot, the method name is called what? Println of. Let me print the first one here. What is the first one here? So username plus session. Good. Session dot, the method name is called what? Get attribute of, what the first attribute here? Uname. For example, in that place I trying to place AAA, right? Here you have to use what? AAA. In the first servlet, instead of the uname, if I use AAA means while getting the data we have to use the AAA, but here anyhow I use the uname only. The display I use how to get the data. How to get the data here? How to get what? Uname only. I hope you understand, right? This is called writer.println of. Then right next one is a break. How to use the break one here within the double quotes. Go for the break. So we must take care about this GUI implementations. Username. Next one here, user is session dot get attribute of UH. The third one is what? User qualifications. Qualifications. Coming to user qualifications, session dot get attribute of U qualifications. The last one from the session attribute is user designation. Coming to the designation of user, so UDSIG designation. Clear? The remaining 2 details from which object? Request object. Already I get in the request details, right? So next one is the user mobile. Here session attribute is not required. Already I get in the requested details. Directly you can write what? Mobile. After this one, so user mobile and the user. The last one is what? Email. What is the user email here? Directly you can print what? Email. This is a way how to get the client previously requested details at the time of the processing later request by using session tracking mechanism. The last 3 files I am not using printWriter object because I am not printing any data, but in this file I am using printWriter object because I am printing some details into the output console. So if you are print the data means 2 details from which object here? Request object. Remaining 4 details from which object here? Session object. I hope you understand, right? This is the way how to write the session track mechanism. Understanding the first example only, it will take some time, but from second example onwards everything is easy. Any doubts in this case? Let me run this application. Good. So right click on project, run as, run on server, click on next, HTTP session object, click on finish. The first file is displayed, or the first file here, username. What the username here? Ratan. User age is 27. Click on next. User qualification is BTech. User designation is software. BTech. So next one. User mobile number is 9000160099. User email is what? RATN. This is my personal details. Mobile, that is my mobile number. This is my email ID. RATNA Ratna 5256 @gmail.com. Clear? When I click the display button, it displays the complete details. If you want to store these details in database, here write the connection logic in the display servlet. The details will be stored in which object here. This is my complete personal details. Username is Ratan, user age is 27, user qualification is a BTech, user designation is software, user mobile is 9000160099, user email is what? ratna5256@gmail.com. Tell me, in this way we are maintaining the client previous request details at the time of the processing later request by using which object here? HTTP session object. It is called what? HTTP session tracking mechanism in Java. So tell me, total how many session tracking mechanisms here? 4. Official 3, 1 is unofficial. Any doubts regarding this mechanism? So we have to consider, this is what the problem in this approach here? 2 problems. If number of users are increased, number of HTTP session objects are increased. Once the number of HTTP session objects are increased, obviously performance will be degraded. Number 2, the server is identifying this object is belongs to this user with the help of the session ID in the form of the cookie. If the cookies are off, it won't be worked out. The 2 problems. What are steps to design application here? Display the form page, then get the requested details, store the data into data. Good. Display the form page, get the requested details. After getting the requested details, prepare the HTTP session object. After preparing HTTP session object, here what? Add the requested details into the session object. After adding the details session object, forward get request dot, forward the request to next form. Use 2 words here: locate the object, create the object. What is the difference between locate the object and create the object? Create the object means create. Don't locate the object means locate. So create the object means it is creating the object. Locate the object means already object is available. The request already object is available. The reference value is pointing to existing object. Request.get section, request.get section by default true. By default true means it will check the previous object. If object is available, locate it. If the object is not available, it will create the object. Get section of false means it will check the previous object. If objects are available, locate it. If object is not available, it won't create new object. It will generate error message. Clear? So in that way, we are getting the request kind previous request details at the time of the processing later request by using which mechanism here? HTTP session track mechanism. So thank you guys, and meet in next video. In the next video we will discuss about what? Cookie session track mechanism. So like continuation, we will discuss about the session track mechanism. Once the session track mechanisms are completed, we will discuss the filters concept. So clear? Thank you.